Friday Night Racing
on Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.
Welcome to Friday's Off the Ball, a slightly different show today. We have a woman in who didn't think she'd ever be in the Off the Ball studios. We also have John Duggan, and we have plenty of chat over the next 45 minutes or so. With the Galway races nearly upon us again, the maddest time of the year, really, but I don't know if there's anything madder than the TV broadcaster and chef Yvonne Connolly rediscovering your love of horses, and now you've basically just abandoned your career and you just want to be, I think you want to be a jockey. I think you want to ride at Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake I could quite easily make, you know, win your first race and think, yes, I want to be a jockey.
Think it's easy.
Yeah, I was very, very lucky that I had an amazing horse called Never Rush a Con, or as I call him now, Never Rush a Connolly. You know, he brought me around safely and with such confidence that yeah, you could quite easily fall into and make the mistake and think that you could be a jockey, but it was all down to him. So
this was the Curragh in the Corinthian Series Challenge, which is a new thing that has been brought in to raise money for the injured jockeys. Yeah,
Irish injured jockeys, I think they've been, they were put together about 4 years ago. And an amazing woman who works in there, Alicia McCormick, called me up. I knew I had kind of got back into horses recently and asked me to do this charity race. Obviously an amazing, amazing cause and a great reason to do it. But I just felt I wasn't ready. I hadn't been in the saddle for 25 years. And I was like...
25 years?
Yeah, I was like, try me again, maybe next year. I do like a challenge, but it was just too soon. So I said, you know, try me again in about next year. And... I went and told all my family about what she'd asked me to do, which was 3 races around the Curragh and Cork and Leopardstown, and riding a racehorse. My mother initially thought it was just my own sturdy Irish sport horse, you know, but actual racehorses. And strangely enough, all my family were like, call her back, you have to do it, you have to do it, which I did. I called her back and signed up.
Trepidation initially?
Yeah, I spoke to a lot of people who I kind of trusted, and they all encouraged me and said, you can do it, you've just got to train really, really hard, give it your all and get fit, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, now, just tell us your background. You're kind of from around the Straffan direction, so you are from a horsey area.
I'm a Kildare woman, grew up with horses from a young age, all my family involved. So I would have done everything as a kid, show jumped, hunter trialed, everything, and loved it. But then after my leaving, I remember doing Dublin Horse Show after that, and then going off to college and kind of selling whatever horses I had, with the intention of going straight back to it after college.
Where did you go to college?
In Cardiff. And I just discovered life, I suppose. Horses are a huge commitment, and they're fantastic for keeping teenagers out of trouble. But I think once I went to college, I kind of made up for everything and enjoyed, you know, the kind of freedom and enjoyed a social life. And I just never got back into it. I suppose life took over. I started to work, got married, had kids, and yeah, it was kind of put on the back burner.
I've seen you racing a bit, so you've obviously still maintained an interest, but it's more so that you just hadn't sat on a horse.
Just hadn't sat on a horse until kind of late last year, or the end of the summer.
How did this happen? This is what I'm intrigued by.
Oh, yeah, my youngest daughter, so I have a 20-year-old, 18-year-old and a 13-year-old, and my 13-year-old is obsessed with ponies, and she got a new pony last summer, and within 2 days had a bad fall. Broke her arm, her wrist, needed surgery. It was a nasty accident, and I just had to exercise this lovely new pony. It's a little dote, and I just, you know, got bitten by the bug, or the curse as I call it, and I was just sucked straight back into it. Borrowed a mare for a little while. Once she was back on her pony, I borrowed a mare for a while, and I remember the time my partner John, he bought me a saddle, and he bought me this fabulous kind of like all-purpose saddle, jumping, everything. And I said, no, thank you so much, but would you mind if I changed it to just like a flatwork saddle, dressage saddle? I'm not going to compete, I'm not going to jump, you know, just want to like, you know, stay around the yard. And of course, within a month or so, I was out competing and doing all sorts of crazy things. I
think, John, we spoke to Paddy Flood about this last week. A lot of us just don't ride horses, but if we did, if the entire population was forced to ride horse for a week, an awful lot of them would just be bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
They would, yeah, and even
when we had Ozzy Valentine with Off the Ball for a Day there at Leopardstown, you see Ada McGuinness putting on the saddle and the size of the saddle and how it changed between a flat horse and a jumps horse, and you see how beautiful the creatures are. So once I'm sure, Yvonne, you overcome the fear of it and you get used to it, and you get on a racehorse for the first time, I'm sure there's a bit of tension, but once you get relaxed on a horse, I'm sure there's a great buzz out of that.
There's a great buzz out of it, and I don't think I'm super competitive, but I like to face my fears. So when I feel like I've conquered my fears, I feel amazing. Even if I hadn't done well in the race, I would have been ecstatic just to get around there and get around the Curragh, which is, it was the Derby track, so to do that in itself. I mean, I remember walking it a couple of days beforehand with my jockey coach Gordon Power, and just like looking around, first of all looking at how far it was a mile and a half, looking back at the stand, which is stunning obviously, and just thinking, God, I'm going to do this. That was kind of a surreal moment.
And you were with Jessica Harrington.
Yeah, I was so lucky. I got in with Jessica Harrington, who's obviously, I mean, where do you even start with all the wins she's had?
She also
in there.
She had she had a renewed career in her 70s where she just got load of 2-year-olds in.
Yeah.
So you're going back, race riding at your age, like no problem, because she's in her 70s and she's kind of basically just started a new career.
Absolutely. Well, I remember her when she was an event rider when I was in the Pony Club years ago, and she used to come and give lessons.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And she was a legend back then, and her presence was huge, and it was amazing even to get like lessons from her. So to, I suppose, to now be in her yard it was quite overwhelming, and not even just to get on a racehorse, but just to go to her yard, which is such a big yard. I was worried that it would be very intimidating, but actually everybody there is so lovely. A huge team. I mean, it's run like a military operation, but with such care and passion as well. It's. I mean, if you ever get the chance to visit, I think you've
I've been
there.
down to Moon, and it's like we saw Sizey and John, who won 3 Gold Cups in one year, and you got Kate and Emma and everybody down there.
Yeah.
And Robbie Power, of course, and it is military. It is, and it has to be, I think. And Jessica she knows what she's doing, and she's like been in the game a long time with Johnny and everything, and I think she's very straight. And she knows how to train dual purpose, which once again, that's an amazing achievement.
Sure.
And, like to go to Cheltenham. And also when she sends horses to the track, they perform. She doesn't do it for the sake of it.
Yes, yeah.
Was the training difficult? Did you find it? What was like the hardest part of the training?
Did they rush you, Connolly, or?
I think the hardest part was to try and to keep my confidence and stay relaxed, because if you're nervous, you're tense.
Does the horse feel that?
Yeah, and the horse feels that. I think, most of the time I was confident. I think about a week before the race, I kind of lost my confidence. I stupidly watched an accident. A friend of mine who was a jockey, he had a bad accident with also Tom Madden, who's in Jessica's yard too.
Who was the jockey?
And I watched Rory Cleary.
Yeah.
And I watched it back, and I was suddenly overcome with fear.
It wasn't a great idea now to actually
No,
watch
and then
that.
my daughter was showing me things on YouTube, accidents on YouTube, which Shane Foley, who's obviously up in Jessica's, I see him all the time as well, told her, stop showing your mother those videos. So yeah, and then I went on the Old Vic at the Curragh for the first time, which I couldn't wait to do, about a week before the race. And I struggled with my fitness. Well, I thought it was my fitness, but actually Jessica said to me afterwards, you just didn't breathe. Never Russia Khan was, before he went out, he could not wait. He loves his job. He cannot wait to get in the gallop. So he was busy and dancing around, and I nearly came off before I got out there. And I remember just, I didn't breathe. So the legs went, everything went. And I remember thinking, what am I doing? Go home, apologise for taking up everybody's time, and pull out. And I went into the yard on the Monday. I had 3 horses, or 3 lots to ride, and I nearly came off each one of them because I was nervous. They sensed it. My horse and Tracy Piggott, who was riding out at the time, had like a bucking competition. The next horse I was on was galloping and shied and shot across the gallops and nearly came off again. And that was about the Monday before the race. and I wanted to throw in the towel. And then Jessica brought me out to the Cur again, went up the Old Vic with Robert Power and Shane Foley, Paddy Kennedy and Tom Madden, and a complete pinch me moment, riding out with all these kind of top jockeys. And the breathing's really important, and it actually really works. When Jessica says something, just do it. And I just, really focus on my breathing. I had such a lovely gallop on him, and got the confidence back. And I went into the race then really, really confident.
It's so much mind over matter as well, isn't it?
It is.
I was
Yeah.
on holidays during the week. I was on holidays during the week in the ocean. I'm not a good swimmer, and I was kind of panicking. I was just like, this is all just your head. Just chill out, and you'll be able to do it fine.
Sometimes easier said than done.
It is. It's just
when we end up into situations, and you're thinking, oh, well, like, what's going to happen during the race? It's going to be on camera, this kind of thing, and what happens to the horse? Gets
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a blow though that you've done so much good work over the 2 3/4 months, whatever, and then sort of less than a week beforehand, your nerves are starting to go a little, so you have to rally again.
Yeah, that's it, and it is mind over matter. And people say, "Oh, just relax," but that has to come from you. You have to. And as well as that, when I rode the race, I had been given so much advice, and I'd asked for so much advice. I had walked the track with Flash Gordon Power, and I had gone through every scenario with him. I was like, "What if this happens? What if that happens? What do I do if I'm cornered in? What do I do if I'm behind, in front? Everything." And so I was prepared, training-wise, mentally prepared. For every scenario, and the jockey I mentioned, Rory Cleary, had said to me, everyone's going to want to get into the inside, and we're all amateurs. I think I was the only one who hadn't probably sat in a racehorse before I trained. A lot of them had, but we were all amateurs. So he's like, everyone's going to want to get in, go on the outside, and jump off hard, like push like hell, and get ahead of everyone. Who
told you this? Rory Cleary.
Yes, yeah.
That's exactly how Rory rides, actually, isn't it? He likes to go off hard.
I was like, but I'm not going to manage to get, but what if I don't? And he goes, just do it. And I got a really bad start, actually, because the conditions were horrendous.
How many runners?
13, because actually, as I came out, a girl fell off on the way, and someone else came off in the parade ring. So she was being attended to. I was like, what the hell? So there was 13 at the start, and visibility goggles and everything. I couldn't see the starter. Trying to wipe. I think probably the worst advice I was given was beforehand. Somebody said to me,
"Who shall remain nameless."
Nameless. 2 pairs of goggles. Cover them with cling film, and then halfway through, take one off and put the other ones up. I told Jessica this after the race. Jessica was like, "You're an amateur. You can't even take your hands off the reins." Never mind, like, race on there, never rush a con. I'll just whip off these goggles and whip the next ones on. So that wasn't great advice
Do that
for somebody
September
who
1st.
who wasn't very confident. So I just had the 1 pair of goggles on, took the cling film off before I started, but it was just very hard to see, and I probably got a late start. But a little bit like a scene in a movie, when I did jump off and when I did push him on, he literally was way behind, past everybody, up to the front.
Yeah, because
he was super.
A lot of us have we've had dreams that you're riding in a race and it's great, you win, and then you wake up and there's this massive feeling of anticlimax. But these were your words after race. I really enjoyed it. I'm in shock but over the moon. I just did exactly what Jessica told me to do. I relaxed as much as I could and remembered to breathe. And deep down, I knew from the halfway mark that I was going to win. I was like, so this is your first ride? It's like, no, I knew it halfway. Yeah, he's going to win.
Do you know what?
Confidence.
I jumped off late and he passed everybody. And there's a feeling you have with the horse. And I didn't get it with every horse in Jessica's, but with this horse, we just did have a connection. And I knew it. And Jessica said, jump off, relax until you get to like the last 2 furlongs, or maybe
put him under pressure at all?
4. No, we chatted to each other a little bit. I chatted to him.
What were you saying to him?
Giddy up.
Go faster.
Go faster. No, everyone said to me, once you jump off and get to the front, relax and let him breathe and let him go at his pace. She just said, let him roll. He's experienced, 8-year-old gelding. He knows his job, he loves his job. And then, the last, say, 4 furlongs, picked him up a little bit, pushed him on a little bit, and then the last 2 the plan was, which is why I needed to get so fit, is push him like your life depended on it. And honestly, I hardly had to, because at that stage I could feel he was
Did
just
you
going to
know
take
if
off.
he was behind you, or?
Yeah, I had a look over my shoulder and I could tell, I could see people
You were
tiring. And everybody said to me too, you know, if you push these horses a distance like that too much, they're not going to last.
Get tired.
Yeah.
Speaking of fitness, though, what's this been like in terms of your fitness?
Fitness, I think one of the reasons when I went up the Old Vic at the Curragh, what rattled me was I thought I'd be fitter, like cardio-wise. I had lost a lot of weight and I felt a lot stronger, but cardio-wise, I had intended to get to the gym. And I just, with everything, training and my own horse.
You all intend to go to the gym,
Yeah, exactly. And trying
next
to
week.
get, you know, as I said, a 13-year-old trying to get, well, a takeaway on the dinner for her.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
So, but riding horses every day, 3 horses, does get you quite fit. But I still felt I wasn't fit enough for the end. And in fact, it's something I do need to work on, because I didn't need to be for the finish, but I think in the next 2, who knows, I might.
I'd say it's fantastic for your joints as well, in the sense of just your.
Yeah, I feel really
your
strong.
your
Yeah, I
state.
do. Yeah.
You know?
The buzz when you cross the line, what's the high like?
You know, in my head, I thought about winning, and I knew it would be the best feeling ever. And everyone tells you how amazing it feels, but it's not until you actually win. And I wasn't like saying, well, you're only an amateur. I felt like I had won the Grand National.
Grand National.
It was my Grand National. So I was absolutely ecstatic. All my friends and family were there. They all put money on me and they all won.
Oh, you could back this race.
You could back this race.
What price is the horse?
We got a bus driver, and I said, "Here, do you want a ticket and come in and watch come in and look?" He came in. He won €320.
And what price is the horse?
Oh, in the end, 8-1.
Wow.
Yeah,
Should have been 1 to 8
all
by the
my
sounds of it.
family were so happy, which kind of made it too.
Yeah, but this is only the first start of the series as well, so we have a
Yes.
3-leg series.
Yes, it's 3 legs. So the next one is in Cork, which I'm looking forward to. I mean, amazing race courses, and then on to Leopardstown. And
That's the other thing, you're riding at proper tracks as well, world-famous tracks.
proper tracks.
Yeah.
Race horses like Never Rushican will be running in Galway this week. Most of the horses that I've ridden in Jessica's, she's got over 20 of them in Galway. They're not retired horses. I kind of thought at the start, you know, these are all race horses and successful race horses that we ride. And, you know, the competitors, you know, we're all also fundraising as well. So everybody's been quite busy. I'd like to thank TRM Nutrition, TRI Equestrian, who jumped on immediately to support me. So huge thanks to them.
Yeah, who do you ride or do you know, you could be riding 2 completely different horses then later on in the series?
Yeah, I haven't had that conversation.
Jessica,
with
if you're listening,
yeah,
you can text into the
I
show.
would absolutely love Never Rushican again. You know, it's down to Jessica. It's also down to the owners. So David Reid Scott owns Never Rushican. His wife Claire was there in the day. You know, that's not my decision. I would love Never Rushican, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Will you turn pro?
No.
But I guess, all joking aside, would you advise it to people? Like, because in your mid-40s or whatever, like, I haven't ridden a horse. You know, you see John Kiley in his 80s riding out every day. Like, age is kind of but a number in a way.
Oh, you know, the beauty about horses is, even competition-wise, even show jumping, or I'm in Dublin Horse Show next week, you know, age doesn't matter, gender doesn't matter. It's, you know, men and women of all ages are in the same competitions. So that's what I love about most horse competitions. And I know a lot of my family members would have been riding into their 60s and probably maybe 70, so yeah.
How often are you in the yard then? Are you going up sort of after every week and so on?
In Jessica's yard.
Yeah.
Well, I've taken the week off, as I said, to get my own horse ready for Dublin, but I'll be back up there probably Monday morning.
Does it inspire you, John, to maybe pursue it as well?
It inspires me to, like even somebody who's been involved in going to race meetings, mainly as a punter for 20 years. I was at Leopardstown last year for the first ever time, just to see racing on the beach, and that was a great experience.
Yeah.
And seeing how we had the whole ownership of the horse for the day, and how you feel like the horse is more of your own child when you own it for a day.
Yeah.
And I finished 6th. I never had a chance, but imagine I had 1. I'm just thinking about, Yvonne, the buzz you must have had, the high you've had. We all have highs in different areas of life, whether you go to a big sporting occasion or whatever it is, you have a great night out.
Yeah.
I'm sure the high is not very describable. It's something that it's probably a rush of adrenaline through your whole body. You think for the work you've done, and then to actually realise that.
Yeah.
And whatever happens in the next 2 races, you've done it for a good cause. You've done something that you weren't
Absolutely.
sure that you could do, and then
you
you've
rode a winner
actually
at the
done it.
Curragh.
Well, to get the win was obviously the icing on the cake. Everyone had said to me, you know, your legs will be gone. I was looking for my partner, and I said to him earlier, my legs will be gone. You need to literally catch me when I get off this horse. And I jumped down, and my legs were fine. And the next day, my legs were fine. I was like, but it was just the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was...
I remember my legs went in a different way when I had a bet on the Galway races 16 years ago.
We're going to chat about that anon.
I know what it's like to nearly lose your legs at the races, but it was a different thing. There's no alcohol involved. It was just more the nerves of what I was doing.
Yeah.
How is the money raised as well? So how does that work?
Well, everybody's had different kind of fundraisers. We've all got our own pages on everydayhero.com, or you can go onto the Corinthian Challenge website and have a look at that. And you can also kind of follow my journey. I post pictures and video clips and things like that. And you can donate there as well. But as I said, I do have my support from TRM and TRI. But people have been having karaoke nights and fashion shows, whatever. So it's it's a tough one. Everyone's trying to train and raise money, but I suppose that is part of the challenge, and we've got till October.
Onwards and upwards.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks very much for coming in, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Thank you, well done.
The Off the Ball on the Bridle Syndicate ran out 6th in Leopardstown a few weeks back. The Adrian Guinness trained flat horse Aussie Valentine ran into 7:25 at Leopardstown. We even had Ger here discussing race tactics and all, like Yvonne now becoming a bit of an expert, I think, on all matters equine. The race was the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Nasrullah handicap over a mile and 2 furlongs. Magnetic North won the race under Sheila Lavery. In association with Horse Racing Ireland, Off the Ball has been given an insight into the world of racing ownership, and Aussie Valentine will run in grey silks with a grey cap carrying white stars. Hear how the lads got on.
Have you ever met Miss Lindy? She's a gal with the bright red hair. Now she stands high from all the rest. You know her anywhere.
This beauty here is Aussie Valentine. We're out in Aidan McGuinness's yard. We're going to go down to the beach now to have a look and see exactly what the benefits of having a yard right beside the sea can do for the horses, because this horse is going to be our horse for one afternoon only on the 11th of July at Leopardstown in a race that we think he's got a chance of winning. But actually, if he doesn't win, I don't mind, because I've just fallen in love with the horse anyway. So
we're building up a nice relationship with Aussie Valentine, only a small amount of time before he does eventually trust you.
She's so fine.
It's a great, easy, relaxing day for them. The water is great for their legs, their joints, their muscles. It's nice cold water, and it's brilliant. It takes swelling, aches and pains.
It's a recovery session for horses.
The recovery session. It's a bit like a recovery session for them. The number 5 is Aussie Valentine, that's your boy, and he's a horse that we've had. He's been very lucky, and he's worked wonders since he came here.
How's he looking this morning?
He looks great. Had a run last Sunday on the Curragh, but he got over it very well, and he's grubbed up well, and he's been down here twice since. A horse like him he's fit as a flea. It's up to me to know when to do a certain amount with him and not do too much with him. And these days aren't very, very hard on them, so they're a lovely day to get them away to the beach, and you're not killing them, yet they're happy to come back home. They eat up well, and they're enjoying life. It's a great experience for an owner to be involved, and especially it's the feature race of the day, so it's a bigger experience than it's not just the first race in the card, so it's the main event of the day, so it'll be super.
So this is a big day for us. We've got the access all areas, trainers and owners badges. It was a special moment in your sporting life, and you're like, I get to. So for not much investment on our part, we've managed to land in here, and it's like we're looking the part. Well, one of us is anyway.
Yeah, I look like an owner. He looks like a Wall Street executive. This is the most love I've ever felt, getting this owners and trainers badge. I cannot wait for tonight, seeing Aussie Valentine crush the field. And we found John Duggan. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Leopardstown, sun, Thursday night, live music later on. Can't wait.
So talk to us about Aussie Valentine. Apparently he loves this ground.
Aussie Valentine, the 7:25 at Leopardstown in the colours of the On the Bridle Syndicate. Off the Ball have taken over a horse this evening.
Why didn't they call it on the bridle?
Well, because we want to be on the bridle tonight.
Yeah, we do. But I mean,
you don't
it's just a name.
You don't be struggling after a furlong here at Leopardstown in this race. So it's just a great experience to have a horse for the evening, to see how syndicates work, to see the trainer Adrian McGuinness and the jockey Gavin Ryan works with Jim Bulger and the best claimer in the country. So we're kind of cautiously optimistic about Ozzy Valentine, that we might be hoopering and hollering, Owen. We might be screaming, you might be taking your shirt off, might be doing all kinds of things if Ozzy Valentine strikes the front in this 1 mile, 2.5 furlong race.
He's a relentless galloper,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we've got to do with him, and he'll stay galloping.
He just stays at it, doesn't
Yeah, he stays at it, so you don't want to turn into a crawl. I think you've got to make your mind up coming off the bend, so to say, you know, go forward rather than turn into a sprint.
Perfect, that's 100%, yeah.
How do you play Ozzy Valentine?
Flag raised and they're off. And it's Ozzy Valentine gone on half a length in front. Ozzy Valentine is there on towards the finish. But getting known as Wilderness Runner from Inverary, Wetwood, Hamley, and then Tudor City Antilles, and awakening Ozzy Valentine.
And look, there's no pace and turned into a bit of a sprint, you know.
He stayed at it, but he just stayed at it one pace, but he hasn't run too bad, you know.
That's it. That's it. Well, thanks, Willie. Thank you.
As long as he's safe and sound in the morning, that's all. That's what matters to us. So that's horse racing.
I felt differently owning a horse for a night than I would be backing a horse, even with a grand on or something. Not that I'm backing a grand.
I never even got to say goodbye to Ozzy Valentine.
Yeah. It just really felt like we had one of our children there, out there in Leopardstown this evening. Just there's a different kind of buzz out of that.
Standing in Leopardstown on a Thursday night in July with one of your horses in the race, turning around the bend, heading for home. That was one of those amazing experiences.
Yeah, in fairness, there was a bit of reality there in the sense that, like, promise sort of unfulfilled, and racing ownership is a lot like that. You've good days, you've good moments, you've bad moments, and
It's over very quickly.
it's over very quickly, particularly in flat race.
It is over very quickly. It was over by the bend. But it was a different feeling to being a punter. It is a different feeling. You do feel more invested in a different way, in a more caring way almost. Whereas a punter, you're liable to go blame yourself or get mad. As an owner, even if it was only for a day, you feel a bit of a bug about that. Well, I wouldn't mind that experience again. I wouldn't mind having my name on something and chasing it home.
Well, why not?
You've had it.
Yeah, I've had plenty of highs, plenty of lows. I think the first horse I got involved in was very good. That was the problem.
What was the name of that?
Operation Houdini.
Okay. Who trained that?
Davy Fitzgerald, not Davy, who'll be obviously in Croke Park at the weekend, but Davy Fitzgerald in Limerick, and he was second in a Troytown, second in the Cork National, in which he was disqualified, sent off like 11-2 in a Paddy Power, 8-1 in the Welsh National, I think.
Yeah.
Good horse, but obviously it's a game of highs and lows. But I must mention that the Total Irish Injures Jockeys Charity Fund remains at 6,329 after Anything You Want to Be was a non-runner at the Curragh last weekend, and it is the calm before the storm this weekend on the flat at Goran on Saturday. No meeting on Sunday to let everyone prepare for Galway, including stable staff who work so hard, obviously. One meeting at Goran tomorrow, all roads into Ballybrit for the Galway Festival, one of the highlights of the racing calendar. The Tote will have daily specials each day, and all details will be on the tote.com website. In the UK, the King George takes centre stage at Ascot tomorrow, where the Wonder Mare Enable will face stiff opposition in her bid to follow up last year's win. You can enjoy the Tote versus SP best price guarantee on both Galway and Goodwood next week. Saw a clip of Enable actually just walking towards gallops across the road during the week, and there were people like stopping to kind of salute her because she's a bit of a queen in those parts. What a mare.
Yeah, it's difficult to see her getting beaten, really, isn't it? The King George can be a funny race. I was reading a really good interview with Michael Stout there, talking about, was it Harbinger? It was the best ever performance he'd seen from a middle distance horse.
Yeah.
Better than Shergar.
Yeah.
So that was a good little appetizer for it. But I think Frankie's on Enable, isn't he? So
yeah.
He's had his little week down in Killarney, and should win the race.
Let's talk Galway. This is your first time in 16 years to be in Ballybrit. You haven't missed Cheltenham in 19 or something like that?
No, I've been to the last 18 Cheltenhams for radio, for Today FM and now News Talk and Off the Ball as well.
So why haven't you been to Galway in 16 years?
I went a bit, I was young and irresponsible, and I made a ridiculous amount of money betting in 2003 when I was young and irresponsible and didn't have editorial responsibilities or that kind of thing. Made a huge amount of money on golf betting and went down to Galway and was really just doing all the cliche things, going around in white spats.
In the Fianna Fáil tent?
Yeah, I went in the Fianna Fáil tent just for the crack. I was on helicopters up to from the Radisson up to...
You actually were in a chopper?
Yeah, up to Ballybrit.
A lot of money, John.
No, it wasn't my chopper. I was just giving a lift.
Even so?
I just remember back in Columba in the Galway Hurdle, and by the way, folks, I'm not advocating gambling on this show. I haven't made a big amount of money in 12 years, so what I'm saying is that back then I was young and irresponsible, and I had the money, whatever.
Everything seemed easy.
Everything seemed easy, and I put €500, and I don't mind saying this because I wrote a book about all this kind of stuff, put €500 bets in Columba in the Galway Hurdle. He was placed to 14-1.
Who trained him?
I think Desi Hughes.
Yeah.
Hurdle horse. But, and I lost a bit. And I remember, it was just mad. And I went home on the Friday. I'd had enough of it. I just had enough of the madness. It was.
It's tough going now, Galway.
I really embraced the madness of the week. And by the Friday, I was spent and I was done. And I said, you know what? The racing is good, but I had too many crazy moments. I had a horse called Animal Lover. There was a huge gamble on him. Huge gamble, and it came off, and there was another Dermot Wells horse was a favourite I went big into, and it was Chandelier's week. It was a Chandelier's week, whereas this week I'll come back an older, wiser person. Won't be imbibing, won't be gambling, and but I will hopefully be tipping winners.
Yeah, I was reading Brendan Duke's blog earlier on. Brilliant commentator on Racing Matters. Galway looms on the horizon. I'm reminded of 20 years ago, standing on the balcony of the Radisson Hotel, a grand view over Galway Bay. Fianna Fáil were riding high in the polls, the economy boomed, and Galway partied like it was 1999, which it was, and that is actually Galway for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's there is a huge social element to Galway. It's 150th year, which is great. They do great, Michael Maloney, Sinead Cassidy, they all do a great job down there at Galway to get everything ready for the week. And you need a stiff constitution. You need a stiff constitution because it's not just, if you go to Cheltenham is, I would say, a purist meeting. Of course, you have lads coming down from London on the Friday, especially for the Gold Cup, but it really is a purist meeting. Galway less so more social, more about the big day, finding a big day for a horse. So and like a mixture of the flat, the really good handicap they have. I think it's on the Tuesday, the 1 miler.
Yeah, they've several good handicaps throughout the week. Obviously
the plate and the hurdle.
McDonagh handicap, yeah.
McDonagh, yeah, that's the one. I'm sure it might have a different name or whatever, but I remember, I've had some good luck at Galway over the years in the plate with Sir Frederick, and had that horse Roger Lochran rode off the JB McManus owned horse off the top of my head. I can't remember what its name.
Nor I actually. Roger Lochran. Yeah,
he won at 8-1. He won over JB McManus. This is when I was tipping Galway horses and had a good run over a couple of years. So generally I would find for the plate and the hurdle folks, you're looking for lightly weighted horses, and you're also looking for a horse with a bit of class. Remember, Farmer Brown one year was absolutely thrown in the hurdle and won.
Davy Russell.
Yeah, for Pat Hughes, I think it was. Balco de Flo went and won at Cheltenham Ryanair. I'm looking at Mengley Khan. You're the horse you love to hate, Johnny. Is second favourite, say, for the plate on Wednesday. But Mengley Khan, from a class point of view, you're looking for class horses in these races, or you're looking for something that's well weighted ahead of the handicapper.
Yeah, it's the Colm Quinn BMW Mile Handicap that we referenced there on the Tuesday. It's a 120 grand race. It's just one of those races. Riven Light again, top weight.
Riven Light's back to at Ascot, disappointed. I think the weather went against him, but he is
bidding to win it for the third year running for Willie Mullins. But let's talk, I suppose, the two big races. What's your preference of the two in terms of?
But I'm a chase guy. Generally, steeplechasing is my pinnacle of my racing graw, because I think steeplechasing actually is an art. I would watch steeplechases for fun. It wouldn't mind me if I don't have a bet on it. That's why the Grand National has disappointed me in the last few years, because they've taken out it's got too safe, and I'm not in any way against
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Racing needs to be extremely safe. But it's got to the stage where the bravery of the jockeys and the horses has been negated to nothing. Whereas, you need to have safe ground, but it is chasing. It is steeplechasing. And like I do enjoy the run in Galway. I think you need a good jumper through that run, and it is a quirky track, and you got that quirky finish with the fences in line. So the plate is a race I prefer. Generally, would prefer steeplechasing.
The Tote.com Galway plate 7:20, giving you plenty of time to get to the track on Wednesday. What do you like?
I like the horse called Barra at 20-1. Once again, I'm looking for horses that have done well at Cheltenham and can run in big fields and can perform. I think he's got a very low weight, Barra, in the colours of Gigginstown.
He actually was a winner in Kilbeggan last weekend.
Did you not fall?
Barra, sorry, I'm wrong.
Was going to win.
Was going to win in Kilbeggan. And fell. And a lightly raced mare, really, which is kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think it was third or something in the Coral Cup. I think behind Blueberry, one of those races at Cheltenham. You're looking for that type of horse.
Well as a mare's novice as
well.
Yeah,
you're looking for that type of horse that has a little bit of class in a race that can go up with the pace and then go for home.
Last mare to win the race?
I don't know. Good
Blazing
question.
Tempo. No, Blazing Tempo.
That was Ruby and Willie.
Was that 2011? Would have been 7-year-old. So, and Barra would be very similar age actually.
I think it's 8.
8-year-old. So yeah.
So you got Boris as favourite for Gordon Elliott. Mainly can we mentioned Coney Island will like the trip.
Coney Island's a fascinating.
Going right-handed, won the Drinmore in his earlier days, but it's kind of gone off the boil.
Enigmatic horse.
Heron Heights at Zuri, Mr Miyagi, Pod Under Pressure, Snugs Benny I backed in the Irish Grand National. He will need to be up at the pace. He can't be coming from behind. I don't think he can be coming from behind on the Galway plate. So I'm looking at Mengley Khan. I don't know how much weight he has, but I'm looking at Barra mainly at under a low weight, about 20-1 each way.
What about move with the times? This is like, if ever a horse were one to prompt a conversation, I remember this horse being, he was favourite or second favourite.
This Gordon Elliott horse in the blue and white, is it?
No, he was with Paul Nicholls and he was favourite for the Supreme.
Right.
He got injured, but he was a good novice hurdler. And then he's been a bit disappointing over fences. Now he's moved to Enda Bulger, and he is.
Was he with Gordon Elliott, wasn't he?
No, he was always with Paul Nicholls. Very well regarded horse, and he's actually fourth in the ballot, but he'd be certainly an interesting one. But let's go on to Thursday. By Thursday, if you're tired from your exertions at Galway, there's still Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go. So you do have to pace yourself over the week. Guinness Galway Hurdle 4:55.
Band of Outlaws favourite, won at Cheltenham, I think at Aintree as well, didn't it?
He was beaten at Aintree.
Just narrowly. Yeah, there was the unbeaten horse, wasn't it? The Triumph Hurdle winner.
Henderson's horse.
Penton Hills beat him, didn't he? Yeah. Riven Light, we mentioned 8-1. Build Me Up Buttercup and Quick Grab 'Em, that novice winner from earlier in the year, 10-1. Chosen Mate, Gardens Babylon and Soul Pretender, 12-1. David's Charm was unlucky last time, 16-1. The one Stratham, remember Ruby Walsh giving Stratham at Punchestown? I think he was placed. We had a preview night, Ruby Walsh mentioned Stratham, owned by the Brighton owner Tony Bloom. I'll be interested in checking the weight for him, Stratham at 14-1.
Well, Stratham actually got an extraordinary ride from Ruby to win at Galway back in the day as well, and obviously it'll be one thing about Galway this year is that Ruby's not there.
Yeah, he'll be there for off the ball, but yeah, it'll be strange. It'll be strange that I think it took Willie a while to get. I don't know if Willie's won a hurdle. I know he's won the plate now, Blazing Tempo on that, but it's taken Willie a while.
The hurdle, yeah.
He was Sharjah, of course, last year with Patrick on board, but they're all coming back to memories. But yeah, it has been the golden generation, and for Ruby not to be riding it is a bit strange. But it is also a chance for the new generation to come through and get on television. I'll never forget, and one of my biggest regrets in the punting game was I went out of Ballydoyle about 10 years ago, and there was a kind of a stable tour with Joseph, and at 16 years of age, riding horses for Aidan, like down the gallops, and you're thinking, oh, he's earmarking Joseph for something here. And like, he was the time, like Johnny Murta was there, and like Yates was in the yard at the time, and like it was an amazing experience. And Aidan was so great with his time, and we all went down a minibus down the gallop, seeing a horse gallop, like you feel like you're at Epsom, you know. And then you go and you see the Golden Veil, and you see the horses in the stud, like Rocket Gibraltar and Galileo at the time, and Monjou and all that. But Joseph was like, he was being primed, and then I said, you know, Joseph's riding on his first Galway. And then he had like 25-1, but like he went through about 5 or 6 winners on the television. And I always think that this is your chance. It's on the television. It's a big week. My dad, he's long gone now, but his whole year would be based around going to Galway. My poor mother. You know? But it was, like, the week was so big and still is so big for some people. And I think people choose what they want to do. You can't be like That's why I haven't been there in 16 years, because Cheltenham is such a huge week. And I might go to Leopardstown at Christmas, I love as well. But you can't be doing 5 or 6 of them a year.
No.
And for some people, they choose, Galway is my week. From a punting point of view, from a social point of view, from a friend's point of view, from a crack point of view, from every point of view. And that's why it is really important for a lot of people out there. And hopefully we're going to steer you in the direction of some winners this week.
Do we have a weekend nap from you?
Keep your money for Galway.
Yeah, I'll give a weekend nap. Why not, in terms of the I guess in terms of trying to get the fund up. Goran is quite interesting tomorrow. It's going to be pretty quiet, I think, because people are going to be looking towards the hurling. And there'll be a lot of chatting.
I wonder, is that why they have a 6 o'clock throw in Croke Park?
Yeah, it certainly makes you do both. But Iron Blue, trained by Mark Fahey in the 305 at Gorn, I'm going to give that as the horse for the weekend.
What price?
Could be 16-1.
All right.
That horses. Yeah, run well at Gorn and has a good each way chance to Philly. Thanks a million for coming in.
All right, Johnny. And you.
And Friday Night Racing, as ever, is brought to you by GoRacing.ie.
Friday Night Racing.
On Off the Ball.
And they're off.
Brought to you by Go Racing. Plan your day at the races at goracing.ie.
Well, as we know by now, the Premier League season 2018-19 reaches its conclusion this afternoon. Manchester City are in Brighton. Liverpool will host Wolves. Now, we've been saying for about 13 games there's bound to be a slip